Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willow Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I am a journaler, journal maker and teacher of journaling courses. Today is day 29 of the Inspiration Journal course, where I am showing you how I put together this collage art journal page by page so you can follow along at home. And today our collage prompt is symbol. I have quite a lot of symbols, some of which I've mentioned throughout this course. The blue butterfly is my junk journal symbol, the one where people in the junk journal world, they associated me with the blue butterfly. The tiara is another one of my symbols representing identity, because I just love sparkles and they make me happy, and I love beautiful things. So sparkles and diamonds and jewels and gemstones and crystals, they could also be another symbol, along with the chandelier. And anything blue, I guess, could be a symbol, like the blue, not just the blue butterfly, but the blue flower and the blue birds. So yeah, lots of fun symbols. And my most recent symbol is the fox. And I have talked about this one as well many times on my channel. It's not my favorite animal. Some of my friends have come around to my room and they've looked around at my walls and like, wow, you've got a lot of pictures of dingoes on your walls. Why? And it's because the dingo is my favorite animal. It has been since I was in grade 3. And everyone's been confused because they're like, but I thought your favorite animal was the fox. And I'm like, oh, no. That's just my symbol. Or just one of my symbols. And it only became my symbol in the last year or two, I think. First of all, because we were watching Lego Masters. Our family was watching Lego Masters. Well, my sister's family and I were watching Lego Masters one time. And they made this, one of the teams made this beautiful fox. And I just remember thinking, don't really want to watch this show. It's not something I'm into. But when I saw the fox, I was moved, and I just thought it was really beautiful, and I would have that in my house as an artwork, as a piece of art. Yeah, it was just really beautiful, and I remember being that moment. It filled me with awe. It filled me with just this surprise, and I was surprised by the beauty and the joy of this Lego fox. And so ever since then, the fox became my symbol of joy and beauty, or one of my symbols of joy and beauty. But then later on, when I was reading the book, The Boy, the Mole, the Horse, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, that book has these 4 characters with different personalities. And like the boy is very curious, asks a lot of questions. The mole is really sweet. The horse is really wise. And the fox doesn't really say much at all, is the quiet one, I suppose. And I remember when I read this page, all of the pages speak to me and are very comforting. But this page, when I read it, I was like tearing up. It says, "The fox never really speaks," whispered the boy. "No, and it's lovely he is with us," said the horse. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Because I always felt like when I was a kid or a teenager or whatever, that I had to be loud and more extroverted and more fun. But no, the people in my life, like all my schoolmates, when we were going around asking, how would you describe us? What one word would you use to describe us type thing? The one word people most described me as was quiet. And I've got comments throughout my entire life about how quiet I am and how I don't say much, and how, yeah, I can kind of be overlooked or forgotten in the corner because I don't say much. So it was really nice. No, he doesn't say much, but it's lovely that the fox is with us anyway. It's like, oh, that's so nice. And then over here on the other page it says, "To be honest, I often feel I have nothing interesting to say," said the fox. "Being honest is always interesting," said the horse. And again, I was like, oh, that is so comforting, because again, I was literally called boring in high school, and I wasn't affected by it heaps. Like, it was from a friend and I kind of laughed it off kind of thing, because I considered the things that I enjoyed interesting. They just thought the things that I was into were boring. Like, they would ask me, what are you doing on the weekend? And I'd tell them, and they were like, wow, you're so boring. But to me, I was having a blast on the weekend, reading, creating, writing. I'm very much a homebody. My room is my favorite place. But I I'm very entertained in my room. I could just sit on my bed for hours and my mind can entertain itself, like just dreaming, thinking about things, puzzling over things. Like, I'm entertained for hours on end. I always said that car rides were my favorite thing, but not to talk. I don't want to talk in the car ride. I just want to stare out the window, because there's something about the movement of the car and the sound of the road that just lets my thoughts wander. And so I would love going, especially on long car rides and car rides at night, like hour-long car rides, like hours-long car rides, 4-hour trips. I would just love. And I don't want to talk. I just want to stare out the window so I can think. And I loved just being able to think. It was, to me, thinking was my hobby. It was fun, and it still is. And so, yeah, to other people, though, they're like, wow, you're so quiet and you're so boring. But yeah, and often as well, whenever I did try to talk, I often felt like, no one cared, no one was interested, no one understood. So this was just like very comforting as well. Like, being honest is always interesting, and I definitely believe that. Definitely believe everyone has something interesting to say. Every single person, no matter how quiet you are, and no matter what your interests are, your perspective is yours, and it's unique and interesting. And when we are just real and raw and vulnerable and honest, that is the most interesting. Those stories and those that the heart. I love hearing the heart. We'll just go straight to the heart. Let's get into the deeper meaningfuls. It's always interesting and fascinating. And I just think, I always have thought that people are the most fascinating things. And I just want to get to know people straight to the heart, because every single person is amazing. Every single person is interesting. Every single person is fascinating. So yeah, I just want to almost want to pull it out of people. It's like, come on, speak. Sometimes it does feel like you're pulling teeth out of people. But I just want to know. I just want to know about you and get to know you. And yes, I have to be aware that not everyone feels comfortable sharing, and yes, that is okay as well. But yeah, I'm always ready and willing to hear about your heart, whatever people want to share. Like, if I'm catching up with people over dinner, I could just be there for hours and hours, just being like, so what are your dreams? And, what are your core values? And what's made you who you are? And I've got just so many questions for people, if they'll let me, over lunch or dinner, or, just sitting on the couch, talking into the middle of the night, or talking into the middle of the morning hours. Just, tell me, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Or, I don't know, what's your biggest fear? What makes you sad? What makes you happy? Or, what would you do to change the world if you could? What do you love most about yourself? What's your favorite movie? What has changed your life? Yeah, I just love it. Love getting to know people. And that's, I guess, why I have so many questions. It's because I just think people are so fascinating. I just want to know everything about them. But yeah, it's this game I came up with. How in car trips people play things like I Spy and mineral, vegetable, or I can't remember what the other thing is. Mineral, vegetable, or animal. Yeah, I would never really like those games. I kind of found those games boring. So I came up with my own game called 20 questions, my version of 20 questions. Or just I literally called it the question game. Like, can we play the question game? And so that's where everyone in the car would ask a question. And the rule was, the person who asked the question, I think it was they either had to answer last or they had to answer first. I think either they got the privilege of answering last, or they had to answer first because they had to lead by example. Because sometimes you ask a question and people are like, I don't know, nothing's coming to mind. But when the person says their answer, they're like, oh, okay, now I get what you mean. Okay, now I've come up with examples and stuff. And yeah, so you just keep going round and round. Everyone gets a turn asking a question. Every single person answers it, and then you just keep repeating that. So that's the rules of the game. And yeah, I love that game because you got to know people. I remember playing it when I went on a charity walk from Sydney to Melbourne. We drove from Melbourne to Sydney first so that we could walk back. And in the car, we had a team of 4 of us. And we had to ask, well, we didn't have to, but we were just thinking of games we could play because it was a long trip. And one of the games we did was I introduced the question game. And yeah, we got into some deep questions. There was another time we played the game, just 4 of us. We called ourselves the Awesome Foursome, 4 of us ladies. And yeah, we got into some really deep chats. One was like, what's the hardest thing you've gone through? Or what's the hardest lesson you've ever learned? And how have you come out stronger from it? And yeah, like we had some fun questions before that, and then we got to that question and it got real deep and real I love it. I love the deep stuff. Real cool. But it's always, you know, like a safe place, a safe space where if you only share if you feel comfortable to share. You share only as much as you're willing to share. You know, you could just say one sentence or you could say the full story. And yeah, love that as well. When I went on beach mission, you know, there's this team of 30 or 40 people, all from different backgrounds, all from different places. So you get to really know all these different people over the 10, 12 days that you're serving together at beach mission. And I would just love having these late night deep chats with people. And it was because there's so many people, you always had a different chat with a different person and got to know different people. It was so fun. It was such a blast. Those deep chats were some of my favorite. We got to hear each other's testimonies and, you know, questions about where do you see God and how has God changed you, and how is God speaking to you at the moment? How has he challenged you? What's your biggest struggle as a Christian? And all of this kind of stuff. I just loved talking about that kind of stuff. And I just remember one night sitting on the pier, you know, with the moon and the stars above us, and a little group of us sat there talking about our testimonies and our struggles. And yeah, I loved it. I just love real talk, you know. Real talk is the best. Like, we're all human, we all struggle, and it's all good. And when you actually share those things, that's where you have the most connection. Anyway, with this page, I'm just adding anything that I had with a fox. And then I just add the book pages, those 2 book pages. I have one copy that I use as a journal and another copy that I use to journal with. I also want another copy to just have as a normal book. So when I find a book I love just using it. If you'd like to see the journaling video for this course, you can head on over to my Patreon. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Big special thank you to all my beautiful patrons who supported in May. Thank you for allowing me to do this for another month. I hope you absolutely love being a patron and all the extra rewards you get over on my Patreon. You get access to extra videos and printables and personal updates, first access to my journals, and much more. So if you'd like to become a patron in June, feel free to check out the link in the description box to my Patreon.